What's up, YouTube? It is I, the wizard of 3D printing that's building a computer today. How is everyone doing? You can see the case back over here. It's right there. There's a Lee case right there. There's a bunch of board games over here, and more over here, and some Switch games. Welcome to the channel. We're going to be building a computer. Let me actually adjust the camera a little bit here. It's a little off. Yeah, oh, too far. Much better. Let's make sure the overhead works. Overhead works. She's a little crooked, but she'll have to do. Look, I got a new mouse. It's white and black. Hopefully it lasts the whole stream. All right, we're gonna build a computer, and I've done this quite a few times. You know, I have a custom PC. Basically, what's gone on is I have slowly upgraded my PC to a 7800 X3D, AMD 9070 XT, new motherboard, new RAM, and I just have extra bits and pieces. So I'm going to build a computer with the extra bits and pieces, plus a few extra things I snagged on the Amazon. So yeah, it should be fun. Should be fun. Should keep us out of trouble for a little bit. Most important, always have a good screwdriver. I highly recommend this Mega Pro. It's basically, there's a rumor that this might be the company that makes the LTT one, and I really hate everything that's LTT. That's not a fan. They just sell you stuff that they get paid for, basically. Like, oh, this company gave me money. They make the best product ever. That's them. That's why I don't take them seriously anymore. But yeah, great little screwdriver. You gotta have a good screwdriver. Why is everyone texting me? Texting me. Oh. It's a Mr. Mike. And then a little tiny screwdriver. You never know. And this one I love. I don't know if you've seen this kind of screwdriver. Let me do the overhead. So this kind of screwdriver, instead of like your typical, actually these are both very different. This one has a bunch of bits here, and the best part about this one is being able to just boop, and then you got all the bits in this little spinny doodad. And they're all two-sided, so basically you get double the bits, and you don't have to always go back. So it's got the normal P2 sized bit, P1 sized bit. Who's at my front door? Oh, somebody, oh, it's UPS dropping off a package. That's fine, you drop off your package, UPS. This one is kind of neat, because it actually has, what's up, Caveman Spaceship? How you doing? This one's cool because it has a locking collar. So you pull this back, and it actually uses impact bits, and I use these long impact bits. Now, there's a reason for that. Ever had that problem with these fancy ones where this collar is so thick you can't get it in the hole? That solves this problem. This column is only as big as the bit, so you never have that issue. You can actually get that in the hole. So, and the fact that locks means they don't pop out all the time. So, and then it's also ratcheting. This one I like because when you ratchet, you can actually, which way you spin it, that's now the way it turns, and that can go this way. And now this is where it turns. And then it also does have the mid lock, so there's no ratcheting. So really fun. I highly recommend if you so desire that you need, I think it's a Vera. Yeah, it's a Vera. And this, of course, is the fancy Mega Pro with a fancy magnetic drawer with all the bits. So yeah, we have things. So I'm going to push my keyboard out of the way, because as we know... Oh, hey, what's up, Mike? You watch as long as you can, sir. Probably won't need the wrist rest for the rest of the day. Ugh, I just cleaned this thing. I hate... My next purchase is going to be a mouse pad that isn't all black, because I just washed this the other day, and like, here's where my keyboard is, nice and clean, and then this is all dirty, and everywhere you move the mouse gets dirty because everything, you know, yeah, it's just dusty and gross. Okay, let's build a computer. So the first thing that we need is the motherboard. That needs to be taken care of first. So let's go ahead and do the proper way of building a motherboard, which is grabbing it. And we have ourselves a B650A. So the story behind this, I bought this motherboard when I built this computer. And Let's see, main without, yep. So I built this computer. I bought this motherboard here. Well, eventually the USB 3.0, one of the USB headers died on it. So I sent it into Asus for repair, and they sent it back to me, and they're like, we couldn't find anything wrong. Asus has horrible customer support, basically. And I couldn't wait. Like, they said it would take up to a month for them to do the repair and everything. So I bought another motherboard in its place, and I also wanted a bunch more USB, so I just bought a fancier motherboard with way more USB. So I don't need this thing. Basically, after having it sent back to me unfixed, and me sending it back to them, and then sending it back to me again unfixed, they basically just sent me a whole new motherboard. So this is a brand new motherboard. Here, I'll actually open this up. You can see it has not been taken out. Like, oh, there's a bunch of paperwork in here. But it is unused. So we're going to start with this. So the first thing we need when you build a PC is the motherboard. And it comes with a bunch of doohickeybobs. So let's go ahead and get to the doohickeybobs. How is everyone today? How is Mike? It's good seeing you today. Or I guess we're seeing you today. Alright, I really don't need... So we got our keychain, our little extra locking bit, some extra goo bag stuff, manual. Probably won't need the manual. Maybe we need it for figuring out the power and whatever nonsense. Ooh, look at those fancy stickers. But we definitely need the Wi-Fi adapter. And it looks like it comes with some SATA cables and an extra... So this is a heat thermal pad for the M.2 drive. Some of this, another pad, and then extra locking SATA cables, which we won't need. So we'll put this box together. We won't need the SATA cables. We won't need... I'll keep this thing in case there's not one already installed. I don't need that. I will need the Wi-Fi thingy. I don't need this or this. I'll keep the manual around. Who knows? Maybe I can use that for something. Alright. And then, of course, any good PC builder knows that you use your box that came with your motherboard to build from. So let's pull this bad boy out. Oh, of course this bag is like super tight. Ow. That was very stabby. Oh, come on. This is the worst wrapped thing ever. There we go. Brand new. I mean, look at this thing. Alright, nice to see you. Better if you can't see me. I get so much of this at work. Yeah. Look at that. That is fancy. So we gotta do some peels here. Definitely need to take the peel off of this. You can definitely tell this is a B series motherboard because there's only 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Looks like 9 USB ports, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fast ones, and then 4 slow ones. And a BIOS flashback button. And a BIOS USB port. Alright. So, as you know, the next step is always... I guess we do the CPU, and then we can work on the cooler. Well, we'll do CPU, hard drive, memory, CPU cooler. That seems about correct. Let's see. RAM. Alright, so here's our wrong box. This is the one that I had for my 7800 X3D. But here is the 7700X, which I might need to clean better. Here's the very inexpensive NVMe drive. That is a 2 terabyte. It is Gen 4x4. Not super fast, but we're not really building a super fast build here. So let's do the M.2 because that's going to be the easiest. So let's spin this way so I can see it, because I need to see this more than anybody else. And this is going to be the smaller bit, so that's the... No, that is the right way. Okay, loosen that up a little bit. And all you got to do is loosen these on this one. And we'll find out real quick if we need to add any thermal pads to this in a second. I think it already should become preloaded with the thermal pad. Yep, and those screws will pop out. Yep, preloaded with a thermal pad. So take that off. So this is your M.2 drive right here. Your little port for that. This bad boy right here is where our drive is going to go. And it's going to extend, and then there's already a locking pin, a little quick lock to lock that in. So we need to get this out of the package. What is the safest way to stab myself on live stream and probably damage the drive? Let's use the knife. All right, we didn't kill myself yet. That's perfect. All right. So here's our NVMe drive. 2 terabyte. And here's the pin, and you can see it's got the notch. Notch matches up with the thingy, and you go at a 45-degree angle. It's actually funny. Oh, focus down here. Focus. There we go. So it actually goes in an angle, which is kind of funny. So you actually load it like that. And once you get it seated all the way, you press down and you lock it in place. There we go. Boom. That's it. That's literally it. You just installed a hard drive, a 2 terabyte hard drive. Now, you might be saying, hey, Chris, why aren't you taking that sticker off? So there is, that sticker actually helps with the thermals, which is weird. I don't know how this works, but you're not supposed to remove that sticker. That sticker stays. So, and the next thing we do is, oh, okay, those won't fall out. Next thing we have to do is remove this sticker. So this sticker holds in a little bit of thermal compound in a little goo. Hold on. It's a thermal pad. Do a quick forehead gig. If you were increased with blood, it's proof. Yeah. I should put some tape on my wrist and hide a little bit of broken razor blade in there, huh? So yeah, so that's a thermal pad. So what we do is we let those screws come down. We find where those screws go. And we set her down. And then we just screw it back in. And you don't need to go super tight on computer components. You can literally just get it flush and then finger tight. So okay, that's why I like the screwdriver. I can literally just use the little ratcheting bit and screw it in, and that way it's finger tight. Okay, and double check this side. Yep. And there we go. Boom. It is way easier than it looks. Like a lot of people are like, oh my gosh. Now, I haven't checked. We might have to remove this bracket, but right now that's not important. So right here, so you might see like, oh, where's the chip go? There's something there. So this is actually a cover. So if I push on this handle and pull it away, handle opens up, and I can actually open up this drawer. And these are the pins. Don't ever touch this part. Don't, that's bad. Don't touch that. Leave this cover down. But you can see there's a little arrow here, and I'll show you on the chip here in a second. But there's an arrow right here. You can see a little itty bitty arrow right there. And there's also a notch here. So when you put your chip in, it only goes one way. So let's open up our chip. And this is the wrong box for it, but it is the correct chip. So here's a Ryzen 7700X. There we go. And I did actually clean it pretty good before I put it away. All right. I ain't so mad at me now. Again, don't get your greasy goobers on everything, but as you can see, there's no pins on these anymore. AMD used to have pins, and so did, Pentium did as well, Intel. But there's no pins. Those are just contact pads. And here's our die. And there you go, 7700X. And you can see there's a little arrow here. See a little arrow? So we're going to open this door up. And we just make sure we rest it with this arrow here on there. That's it. It's on there. Now, this is the part that gets everyone a little freaky deaky. So when you put this cover on, you don't take that little thing off. You push this cover down, you lift this locking pin up, and you're going to push down a little bit. Okay. And it's going to make a popping sound. It's okay. There we go. Oh, actually didn't pop. But this little cover comes off. Boom. Our chip is installed. The chip is there. It's in place. That's literally the scariest thing about building a computer. Now, while I have it zoomed in over here, if we look, let's see here. If we look right here, this tells us where to install the memory. So our first set is in DIMM A2 and B2. So A2 and B2. So we're going to open up these, and that's where our RAM goes. And the RAM is very easy. This notch just needs to match the notch in here. And Corsair makes it pretty easy. This is the back side. This is the front side. Typically, the front goes this way. We'll figure out in a second. But what I like to do is get this one in first. And I like to get... Let's see... All right. And we get that side in first, and then that side. And you got to make sure when you press down on it that that closes on its own. So you see how that's still kind of open? That means it's not pressed in all the way. You want to make sure that that closes from you pressing the RAM in. Don't lock that by yourself, so keep pressing. There we go. I'm underrated, bro. Keep it up. So yeah, now it's locked in on its own. That's the biggest thing. Do not... So if you actually manually lock that, that means the RAM wasn't completely seated. You have to fully seat that RAM. So same thing on the second stick. Label this way. This is the back side. It is unlocked. And we'll get in there nice and straight. And then again, I like to do this side first. And then make sure it's locked. Yep, that is in there. And we can double check. Yep, it's locked on its own. So 2 sticks of RAM in, CPU in, hard drive in. I don't know how long that's taken. We've only been streaming for 21 minutes, and I talked mostly about nonsense. So, all right, this PC build is going quick. So the next thing we do install is the cooler. We'll install the graphics card when we actually have the board in the computer case. I feel like I'm watching Oppenheimer. Yeah, I can explain this pretty easily because I've been doing this. Actually, wait, overhead with main. I've been doing this since I was in college building computers, and I was in college in the 2000s. So it's gotten much easier. Like the components are much easier to work with, and it's really hard to mess this up. I mean, you can bend some of these pins down here at the bottom of the motherboard, that's for sure. But you shouldn't. You really shouldn't be able to do that. All right, we can throw the case away for this. We can throw... This can go actually in the box. So let's say you want to keep this motherboard. So to keep those pins safe, I would hold on to this and just throw this in the box where the motherboard came from. Where did I put that box? Oh, wait. The box is right here. I just choose parts of my first game PC. Is Ryzen 5 5600 RTX 20C Super. For $600, I mean, you know what? Let's actually take a look at that. What is the going rate of a 5600? CPUs have been kind of weird lately. Let's go to, let's just go to Newegg. And left screen. And 5600. Oh, I guess we'll just type AMD just in case there's anything else that could be. Let's see. So we're looking at 204. Oh, that's a 9600. 5600. $96. No box. 5600 for 118. Let's see. eBay. AMD 5600. 109. Where is the option for already bought? Sold. I want to see sold items completed. 107.94, $94, and an RTX 20 Super. I mean, I feel like a 3060 should be pretty cheap right now. I didn't type in Super. That's going to change everything. 135. Let me go. Is that completed still? Or did no, it's completed. 150, 100. I mean, I think you overpaid a bit. I mean, the most expensive one I'm seeing is a one that's 250, but 160. I mean, we're talking $250, $300 max for a 5600 and a 2060. I mean, for $600, I mean, you could do a 3060. I mean, the 3060 is nice because you at least have DLSS, like a modern DLSS. I mean, this, what is 30? So RTX 3070. That would be a great card for a, yeah, okay. You can get a 3070 for 250. And I think right now, AMD, what is a, oh gosh, not AMD. Amazon. What is a, so AM4 socket? We're looking at the, what's the 7600 even going for right now? 179. I mean, PC part picker. I don't think I'll have. Oh, here's the build we're working on right now. So this is what we're building right now. I mean, I could spend $100 more and get the 4060 instead of. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that's nice is, like, again, the 2060 is not a bad card. The nice thing now is, like, because you're going to have, like, 8 gigabytes of video RAM, you want something that can do DLSS. It has gotten to the point where game manufacturers don't care about optimizing games. So DLSS and everything are kind of like the crutch in the land of gaming right now. So if you're PC gaming and you only have 8 gigs, you definitely want DLSS. And if you can get away with it and you can get enough frames with that, do frame gen. So then you get some smooth 60 to 120 gameplay, depending on if you're doing, especially if it's 1080. I mean, it really depends on your monitor. Because if you're just running a 1080 monitor, I think you should be fine. But I would definitely do like a 40. I mean, if you could do a 4060, do the 4060. I mean, it's not a bad card. You know, and really for the $100 they're selling chips for, I mean, it's not really, like, I'm not the biggest expert on the lower end stuff. I'm kind of more like mid-high range guy. Like anything 7700, like getting the 7800 X3D is kind of like not normal for me. And normally I just get a medium range and live in the land of medium to high settings, but I just splurged. Okay, so this is done. Besides the cooler, let's do the cooler. We actually got a really cool looking cooler. Thermal paste. Definitely need that. Alright, slide you out of the way. This is another nice thing about putting on the box. You can just slide out of the way. What? Now I'm stuck on 3070 or 4060. I mean, if you can get the 4060, that's going to have your newest DLSS. That's just running. I mean, I think 3070 does DLSS 3, does it? I can't remember. I'm not super knowledgeable on what tech is. Yeah, but this is the card we're going with. So what's nice is this does have Aura Sync, so this will work with the Asus Aura lighting. So I don't need to put any extra software on here. Yeah, if you can get away with the 4060, do the 4060, just because you're going to have the most modern tech. It's not a bad card. It's way better cost to, especially the price you can get it for. If you can get it around the same price as anything like modern, like cheaper than what you can get modern right now, because I'm not a big 5060 fan. I think that's a piece of poop. I think the 4060 is a better card. All right, be careful not to bend any pins. There's nothing else in the box. Oh, overhead with main. You can see me again. So this is a, I've never actually built a computer with this kind of cooler. So this uses a dual heat stack. So oh, I did need the thermal paste. So this is the cooling block right here. So this is going to contact the CPU, and these heat pipes draw the heat away. So everyone's like, oh, water cool, water cool, water cool, AIO, AIO. This is good enough for some of the best CPUs on the market. So it was only $50. It's big and fancy looking. Hopefully there's enough clearance in my case for it. I didn't check all that stuff. The fans have some mild RGB. We'll just plug right into the RGB header on the board. Okay. All right, there's something else missing from the box. Oh, it's right here. Here's all the doodads we need for installation. Let's get rid of stuff off of my desk. We should just make a pile on the floor. Pile on the floor. All right. 4060 it is. I'm just getting MSI Ventus Model 2 for 3. That's not bad at all, man. Like, again, it's tough right now because, especially if you look at the price right now, it's just weird. All right, so that is for Intel. Is there a box? There is a box. Let's see if it tells me what I need for. Oh, so AMD AM4, AM5. You remove these bad boys. So these are the like brace mounts. You remove these mounts, and you install the plate E and some spacers. Okay. Yeah, MSI makes really good cards, so... All right. Yeah, this is for Intel. This should be for Intel right here. Ooh, and here's a splitter for the RGB. Okay, well, we'll take all this nonsense out. I don't need that. So, thankfully it's red. So this is our AMD kit. Yep, AM4, AM5. So these 4 red spacers are going to go where these screws are. And then these are the standoffs for it, and these are the hand screws to lock it in place. And then here is... Oh, it comes with thermal paste. Some Thermalright TF7. That's cool. Okay. And this is for Intel. And... these can go back in this box. And I will not keep the box for the thing. I'll like to throw everything into the motherboard box. So this will go on the motherboard. I will need this, I will need this, and I will need this. I'll keep the guide here in case I'm an idiot. And I will still use my MX6. I'm an Arctic fanboy. I was going to buy some Cryonaut. Just to try it out. I've never used Cryonaut before, but whatever. So on your fan, you've got the RGB header. So this actually plugs into the RGB on the motherboard. And this is the power for the fan, the power and the tachometer. So this will tell me how fast the fan is going. And I actually think that might be a... Where'd that little cable go that I had? A splitter. That might actually be a fan splitter. It is a fan splitter. So that's just for the fan. So, boom. It's going to go 50-60, but I don't like the fake frame. Yeah, the frame gen. Yeah, and also it's just not at a good price. Like, it's just not a good, like, maybe in 6 months. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I really am not liking what Nvidia. That's why I switched to Team Red. I mean, that's why I have a 9070 XT now. Like, I'm just tired. Like, for $300 more, I could have bought a 50. No, it'd been $400 more. I get a 5080. This is almost a 5080. I mean, it's crazy for $700. You know, I mean, it's not a 5080, but it almost is. These are actually really nice fans. I love these style, the Reaper blades. It's kind of like Noctua likes using these a lot. They're actually really nice, and they've got brass. Got a little brass bearing nonsense in here. So, those are nice. And they do have some RGB. I hate that they both have RGB because you won't see this. Because they'll be one fan mounted here and one fan mounted in between, and they're both sucking. So they're both going to pull air through the fan blades, or the fins, fan blades. So these fins are cool, because basically what's happening is the heat is going to go into these heat pipes. Basically there's a little bit of moisture in here, and it heats everything up into steam, and that goes up into the pipe, and then the air that flows through cools it. So 56 is, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a 5060. I mean, so I am Hamza. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, man. Like, for me, my opinion is get what you can, the best thing you can get right now. If that's a 5060, do it. If that's a 4060, do it. If it's, I think for the 4060 versus 5060, the 4060 is a better value. It's not a leap and bound advancement for the 5060. You gain some DLSS and frame gen, some little spikes in that. Okay, that's fine. But like all modern games are gonna play great on a 4060 right now. You know, you just have to, you know, be okay with a little bit of DLSS if you want to get, you know, the higher frames. And I mean, even like the big games, they play just fine. So Ryzen GPUs, yeah, that's the thing, is if you can get like a 9060, because what is, hold on, let's go back to left screen. Newegg. So 5060. So 5060, $299 for MSI Shadow. That's not bad. So $300 to $330. So what is a 9060 right now? Which is way more card. Yeah, so for the same price, you go 9060. I mean, 9060 XT, which is way more card than a 5060. I mean, that's a really good price on this. I mean, that is just awesome. So, I mean, the only thing you're going to miss out is ray tracing. You just get better ray tracing on Nvidia cards. And I don't know how good ray tracing get on an 8 gig card anyway. I mean, as a downfall is ray tracing just eats VRAM. So it's like, oh yeah, Nvidia can do better ray tracing, but once you enable ray tracing, it eats up like 4 to 6 gigs of VRAM. So it is what it is. The building of computer land is crazy. All right, let's work on this. So we're going to put this over here. And move that over there. And here we go. Let's remove this stuff. And we can just stick with the same screwdriver. This has been working great. And I'm always a weirdo. I always remove each one a little bit at a time, even though you don't have to do that. So I was able to squeeze RTX 4070 Super under $900. I mean, you can see what at 300 more. 4070 Super is such a good card. The 4070 Ti Super is insane. I mean, the cost of performance that you get out of those now is just crazy. Because again, the 50 series really didn't leap and bound. I mean, the only real big leap and bound is the 5090, but the 5090 costs $2,000 plus. So, yeah. All right, those are off. Now we need our little baggie of doohickemobobbers. And we'll put our red standoffs on over this. Boom. Boom. Really should have grabbed my little silicone parts holders. Boom, boom. All right. Make sure I got that correctly. And then I'm going to install the angle bracket that's in here. I think that's going to be this bad boy. Let's see. AM4. Yep, those go away. Those go in. And nope, it's going to be these doohickeys here. And they install like this. Boom. And we need these long screws like so. I found our chance, but the price, yeah. The prices of 5090s are just dumb. Like, they don't even make sense. There should be no reason for a graphics card to be that expensive. And they are awesome, but not that awesome, in my opinion. I mean, it is what it is. All right. Yeah, I think everything's expensive in every country right now. I don't think anyone's free and clear of the nonsense that is expensiveness. All right, we'll get that hand loose real quick. Again, you don't have to super tight. You don't have to crank these down. I think that's correct. Yep, that's correct. Cool. All right. And get that right there. Get that right there. Okay. Again, hand tight is more than enough. And see, all we did was install those spacers, put in the bracket, and basically it mounts to this. So these are gonna, this bad boy right over here is going to mount, and you can see there's already these little spring-loaded screws, and they're gonna mount just like this on top. But we need to add thermal paste, and we also need to remove this sticker. But we'll add the thermal paste first. And for me, on AMD GPUs, I like to do a little line here. So we'll do a little bit of a line. Boom, 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 boom. Actually, we'll go a little bit further. And then we'll put a dot here and a dot here. That's my favorite pattern on AMD GPUs. You really can't go wrong. I mean, if you put a little bit too much, it's okay. But yeah, that's usually what I do for the perfect amount of thermal paste. Might be a little much, but all right. And I like the text to be here. So, oh, that's cool how that works. That actually has a 7900 XTX, I think, has 20. It does. $1,000. That's still crazy for that. Okay. Really? Oh, it's a, I gotta press down on it with the screwdriver to get that in there. All right. Well, let's get the long boy. Okay. Okay. Oh. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's figure out my best way of tightening this thing down. Again, it doesn't have to be super tight. Okay. Multitask. Yeah. I mean, it depends what you're doing. Multitasking, like for me, I do a lot of video editing and photo editing. All right. I think we're good. Let's take a look to make sure that's balanced. All right. All right. I can tighten this side a bit more. Okay. A little bit of time until it stops. It's got a little stopper. Okay, and you know you did it right if you can lift the whole thing up by the heatsink. All right, we are golden. That's pretty cool looking. I've never used one of these fancy big boys before. All right, fan time. So these fans use these fancy locking doodads. All right. Get this splitter out of the way. So yeah, use these fancy locking mechanisms. So I'll show you how these work. I haven't used these in years, but we still kind of remember. We also figured out our cable management. So our fan header. So we got to look for that here real quick. So there's a CPU right here and an RGB header right here. So our main CPU fan is up here. So I forgot to look for that before I put this thing on. But right here is the bottom one should be CPU fan, and the top one is AIO pump. And they actually have a little cap on them to keep them protected. And it's going to be really hard for me to get in there, but I'm going to get in there. Is GeForce 256 good for what? GeForce 256. I mean, it depends on what competitive gaming you're talking about. I haven't heard that card in a while. Oh, come on. Little cap that's protecting this little thing. All right. Let me grab a pair of pliers. GTX 1080 Ti for 120. I really don't think that 1080 is competing as much as you think. It might in some instances, but I don't think so. And the downfall with going with that older card is, again, we're hitting the point... Oh, yeah, there's more of these little things. We're hitting a point where there's... the games are just going to get more and more... I mean, especially for, like, unless you're playing like Marvel Rivals or something like that, or Fortnite. How do we want to mount these? So this is going to go... We need a header here, and we need to hide the cables. Do we put the cables... And let's see. Does this have... Nope. So I could hide them underneath like this and come around. I think that's going to be my best bet, because that's going to hide more of the cables. Cable management is important. On my main rig over here... Oh, I forget you do this. So my main rig over here has a 9070 XT. This has a 4070 going into it. And I used to have a 1080 Ti, and I don't really think it's going to do the magic no more. I mean, it'll still work, but I think we're coming to the point where just go for the card that has the latest technology. Alright. I'm big on cable management, so we need to make sure everything works the way it's going to work in my head. Yes, that'll hide the most cable-y doodad. So how these things work is these will mount into here. So they mount into each one of the holes, and then here's your little clamp that clamps onto the side of the metal heat sinks. Okay. Going to get back in the hole. Don't you fly out on me. Oop. Okay. You will have a ton of fun building that very first PC. Alright. Come on, big boy. Don't want to bend any of these. No. It fell out of the hole. I always love these things. I do love that this is rubber dampened on everything. Alright. Get it down in there. Yeah. Yeah. Come on. A little bit more. A little bit more. Okay. That goes there. Oh, let's make sure it's level. Boom. Boom. Alright. Nice and flush. Got our gap here. It's all in place, and it's facing the right direction. And then we got these cables to worry about. I'm just going to leave those over here. Now we have to do the front fan. I always do the inside one first. I don't know why. Let's see here. All right. Unbundle these cables. All right. Yeah, I don't know what this game is what the system's gonna get overall. All right. So here's where we gotta make sure we run our cables in the right place, because once I put this in place, it is no longer going to. We are no longer going to have room to run these cables where I want it, so let's do this now. We're going to get a cable tie. Always have a large supply of cable ties. Let me get some thinner ones. I don't need these giant thick ones. Tiny boys. So these thin ones are going to be great. So what we'll do is we'll grab this pair here. Okay. And some flush cutters. All right. $40 tie. Yeah, the 40 tie super is such a great card. They did everything right when they made that card. All right, and then we'll do one more cable tie. So basically, I cable tied here, and I'm going to cable tie here to keep all these cables from getting all squirrely. Can you try reviewing my PC? I'm going to build it next year, but I can't post links in the chat. Oh yeah. I can once I make it past this point. I'm going to get... Yeah, that'll tuck in there. All right, and then we'll add our first splitter. So this goes like this. So basically, hard to show. There is a key right here. See these two little notches? They key in to here. So now they're keyed. And we're going to control both fans at the same power. So this will go like this. And actually, I can plug this into the motherboard, which you guys can't see. All right, we are plugged in. So let's see if I can even show it. Well, that's going to be a tough one. So right back here is so this is a pump pin for if you had an AIO. You'd put your pump pin there, and this is a CPU fan pin. It is marked CPU fan pin. And this is a splitter for it. So it's going to split it two ways so I can control the front fan and the back fan at the same time. Boom. We'll run these cables over here so we can cable manage that later. Now it's on to the next one. PC getting Yeah, 5700X is a really good CPU right now too. Prices. I think the only downfall is DDR4 memory is getting more expensive because AM5 or DDR5 is just taking over. And clipped in. Now, what's cool about this setup here, let me do one cable management here real quick. Boop, boop. Yeah, 50 series cards, I think the 5060 is not bad. But, all right. So what's cool about this is I have it just above the RAM, and you can actually slot it up. So if I look at it this way, you can see I rose up that a little bit to make it fit with the clearance there. So, and then we'll tuck this under here. Okay. Okay, and then we'll do another cable manage point right here. Oh. There's my pile of them. Way to get a motherboard for cheaper because it's like 550M Pro with Wi-Fi. It's so nice that they include Wi-Fi in motherboards nowadays. Oh, I guess you can't see what I'm doing here. Well, not really easy way of me showing you what I'm doing. I'm just zip tying a cable. So I just zip tied these two together here as well, so they stay together. And then what I'm going to do is take both of these bundles here, zip tie them together. And this is RGB. Okay. And that'll go to the RGB header. I'll actually think about that, because this motherboard has an RGB header, but I also have an RGB controller in the case. So I'll ponder that. Oh, it comes with both types of RGB. So it doesn't matter what I use. All right, cool. Let's see. So here's our splitter, and we need this cable to go to... What's the best way of doing that so I don't do too much twisty-turny nonsense? So these two need to go together. So let's cable tie this to this. Really should bring my garbage can down here. Does chipset type? It does on higher end. So like if you put a 7800X3D or a 9800X3D, something like that, yes, a little bit. Other than that, I really don't think so. I mean, what really it's going to do is it tells you how many, like, Nvidia, how many Gen 5 channels and how many Gen 4 channels. So, like on my fancy computer, this has 5 Gen 4 M.2 slots, and they all work. On this board, if I were to use this M.2, I think it's the one that's right here, it actually steals from this PCI lane. So a lot of that chipset stuff just basically tells you how many lanes you got to do stuff. So I got the main motherboard, so the main GPU, oh, it's hidden under there. Main GPU is here, but if I were to use this for something, like let's say a capture card, and I had an M.2 in here, they would not work together. So anytime this would turn on, it would steal the lane from this. Anytime this would work, it would steal the lane from this. So incompatible. So you have to ask yourself, are you just going to game on this and you just want 2 hard drives? Most of the time they're fine. So that's going to be your biggest issue, is adding more nonsense. The more expensive the chipset, the more expensive the board, the more nonsense you can plug into it. So yeah, shouldn't affect performance, like if you're just talking raw performance. All right, we got that plugged in. Got that undone. So we've got this funky cable bundle here. And I can actually tuck that in underneath. I'm just going to do... Let's see. I'll probably end up doing something like this when we get to installing this into the case. So for now, I'll just leave that bundled. So now we don't need this anymore. This is set up 100% before we put it in the case. So the next thing we need to build is the case. And that's going to be the fun part. So let's build up our main camera. Let's clean up a little bit. We don't need this. Where's our little box of things for the fan info? Put this in here. CPU cooler is done. Extra hardware bobs. That go in the garbage. I can go over there. All right, we will keep. Let's see. You know what? I'll keep that thermal paste for in case someone comes over and say, "Hey, Chris, my CPU won't work. Fix it." And I'll be like, "Thermal paste." Double the VRAM, and I think maybe better performance than before. 6900 XT is not bad. I mean, what is that 6900 XT going for anyway? Like, what's the price on that at the moment? All right, that can move there. I don't need thermal paste anymore. That can go back down here. Boom, this can go back down here. Thermal paste. Boom. Nife. Okay. Definitely won't need these thin cables anymore. And we will gently open up this box to put the bracket back in. Okay. All right, hopefully I have enough room for this. I didn't realize this case was going to be so big. So, 1 second. I think this is a big case. This is a big case. But it's a pretty case. I don't know what that is. That's a much bigger case than I thought. Woo. I need more screen. Oh, yeah, look at that wood. Yes. Ugh. That is a heavy, heavy case. But she's pretty. Very pretty. And it comes with 5 fans. All right, what's in the box? Yeah, I really like this case. I build mostly for looks, and then a little bit of performance. Okay, these are all the filters. So you've got a different front, and then all your extra hardware for rails and attaching things. Yeah, that's the filter. I don't recommend adding front filters if you already have some constraints in airflow. Definitely not on the exhaust. The top, if there's a filter that goes on top, no, take that off. Okay, I'll take the glass off to make sure I don't break that during any of the build, and then we'll do the power supply and routing, all that nonsense. I guess we should put the motherboard in first. Let's put the motherboard in. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we'll figure it out. So one of the main reasons I wanted this case, which is not going to fit on camera, is that it has the on-off and all the accessories right up front. So this is the front of the case right here. This is the bottom of the case. So this is actually going to be, because I keep my sexy looking computers on my desk. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's nice. And we'll keep the protective cover on there. Ooh, they even put foam under here to protect all that nonsense so the fans don't float around. Oh. There we go. Do I have to take those fans off to get this out of there? How is that even in there? Oh, it's notched. Okay, so that goes like this, and that comes like that. There we go. So yeah, plenty of room. Let me turn it this way. Okay, so this is the next area we got to mess around in. And we have to look to make sure it's all the standoffs. So this is the top of the case, back of the case, front of the case. Motherboard with the CPU is going to be on this end. This is where the graphics card nonsense is. Here's all the back bays. We got some undercooling here, which is pretty dope. I've never had a computer case like this. Love the wood trim. It's a gorgeous case. It's got a GPU bracket down here. It's a great price for it because it's lower than the price of 46, but it gives double the VRAM. Yeah, having that VRAM, man, I'm telling you, games are just, again, that's my biggest complaint right now with manufacturers or game developers is they brute force everything. Instead of giving you a game that's optimized, they're like, oh, well, they'll have plenty of VRAM, and you don't. All right. We have plenty of room for activities. Now, there is no filter on the top, no filter in the front. How do I get the front part off? I think I have to take the top off to get the front off. That's fine. Ooh, and there's a bunch of peely bits. I guess I could move this camera if I had to, but I think you'll be able to see everything. Move into standing mode. Thank goodness for a microphone that also moves. So let's get the CPU in here. We need the hardware. Where's the screw hardware for attaching? Oh, there's a little box of bits inside. All right, hold on. Hold on. This changes everything. White case and a black case. Let's see. Oh, it's a slightly white motherboard. Again, those are just spare parts. I didn't want to buy a whole new motherboard. Doo-doo. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, so they zip-tied a beautiful little item in here. Let me get it out of here. It's a parts bin for all the hardware you're going to need. And there's a hard drive cage in here, and guess what we're moving? Oh, you can kind of see me through here. Hey, everybody. Hold on. So there's a hard drive cage underneath, so we're going to remove that real quick, and we're going to get to work. Oh, man, this is nice. Yeah, I mean, it was just leftovers. I didn't want to buy all new everything. It's so much lighter when you take all the fancy nonsense off. Well, there's a big old hard drive cage in here, which I'll show you once I unscrew these bottom screws. Because we're not installing a bunch of hard drives in here. Bro, my phone's autocorrect is broken. Yeah, this hardware, this cage has got to go. We will not need this nonsense. We don't need 2 drive cages. This is just more room for activities. Because if I were to add any hard drives, it would actually be using these. This is to mount some SSDs. So, but M.2s are so cheap now. They're the same price as SSDs. So now I have one big empty cavity, and this actually comes with a little plug adapter, so you can put your power supply in a different spot. I think that's pretty dope. But power supply will go down here. We got the fans over here that will draw cool air. And yeah, all right. Tons. Look at all this wiring stuff. Or you got a nice RGB hub. Well, actually, it's just a fan hub. So 1, 2, 3. Yep, fan hub, power. I just got to make sure we add a SATA power connector. Here's the RGB connector. This needs to go to the motherboard for fan header. We got audio. We have, this is Thunderbolt. This is audio over here. Let me undo this. That. I think Intel, give them another generation or so, are going to be playing catch up to AMD in the case, or in the, oh, and here's a front panel pin. All right, let's not undo any of that. Let's get the motherboard in. It's going to get heavy again soon, so let's go do this first. But yeah, Intel Arc is nice. All right. So inside this box is all the bits and bobs for your computer case. Oh, they got little rubber standoffs. What? Oh, that's cool. Are those for fans? They are. They have grommets for every fan already pre-installed, so they're on these rubber grommet pads. So these are little fan rubber grommet pads. So you can add them on behind the fan, and it gives them some sound dampening. There's some extra ones in there. So, okay. These are fine thread, and so that's a coarse thread. That's for That's for a power supply, and these fine threads are typically motherboard thread. Here we have, those are for fans. Yep, more fans. And in here, I think these are more motherboard parts. Our Intel is coming with something much bigger than AMD's. Yeah, I mean, Intel just failed the last 2 CPU generations. They're already thinking about making a new CPU. What's it? Mount. New socket. So, I have no idea. We'll see. All right, let's take a look at what we need. So we need to make sure all the standoffs in the right spot. So let me grab a light. I have this magnetic light that will actually magnetize to the case, because the case is made out of steel. And boom. Look at that. So we have our standoffs here. So it should already be set for a standard ATX motherboard. So, and we can double check that. So, like, here's a hole here. You guys can barely see that. There's a hole there for a different case, or a different motherboard style. I don't know if that's ATX or mini ATX. There's some here. So we'll take a look at our motherboard pattern and see what we need. So as you can see, that actually is correct for our motherboard. Let's dry fit it. So let me get my microphone in a safer place and I'll stand up. So this is the I/O shield, and what's nice is this one already has it installed, and we actually want to put our motherboard in at a little bit of an angle and kind of swoop it in so it gets into the space it needs to go to. So let's go ahead and take care of that without breaking anything. And there we go. Now we're going to make sure we have it on each standoff correctly. All right. Magnetically move our light over to where we need it. I like this. I'm glad I own random photography nonsense because I'm a photographer. Just magnet a light anywhere I need it. All right, so let's check our pin, or our screw points. Yep, every single one has exactly what it needs. So we're going to go ahead and install each screw into the motherboard to hold into place. So this is the one we want. And we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to need 9 screws. And I actually like to start in the middle. I'm a weird kid. And the reason I start in the middle, if you think about it, a PCB, as long as every single standoff is exactly the same height, there's no problem. But if there's an issue, let's say you put the sides in first. Well, if you put the four corners in first and the board has some weird... Oh, I used the hand thing. Oh no, I don't know how to undo that when it's this zoomed in. Alright, let's see here. Where is that controller software for this? I keep forgetting that I can't have my hands a certain method because it's got fancy software. Alright, camera 2. Where are you at? Go, camera 2. And no more zoom. Alright, so when the board is flat, if you do the outsides first, you can actually leave a bow, and then you put those final screws in, it'll pop up. If you start at the center, any bowing will happen in the middle, and you can just take it out on the edges. So I like to start in the middle. It's just something that I do. You don't have to follow that method. Do it as you please, but that's just how I do it. Laptops are very overpriced. I feel like I'm not in anything. Oh no, I am. Nailed it. And the hardest one is always this crazy guy. That one that's back there that you can't see is always the hardest screw. And I have big hands, so... I think I got it. The only thing that a laptop competes with on a desktop is portability. Because dang, dragging around a big PC is not fun. Ask me how I remember. Because somebody used to be a LAN gamer. Alright. Oop. Bump the camera with my face. Normal move. Okay. Alright. Make sure that's straight up. I think the only difficult one that I'm going to have is the one that's actually underneath this fan. I think I can still get it. Finger tighten it first. Hey, use whatever motivation you can get, man. Uno más. Also known as one more in Spanish. Alright, now to come in and tighten everything down with the big boy. Again, they do not have to be super tight. They just have to be flush. Our motherboard is installed. I won't put the graphics card in here yet because I'm going to be flipping everything around. Once I have the cables installed and, you know, run the... Oh, there's a little port here for GPU stuff. So let's put the power supply in and do some cable running. Because I think this is as far as I can go in here right now. Because I got... What's cool is the case is already fanned up and they're already wired. And that is a big fan back there. That's like 170 mil back here. No, it might be 140. I know the front ones are bigger. I can't even show you guys the front ones. Alright. Front. Yeah, so here's the front. And I think if I pop... Yep. Yeah, look how big those fans are. That's a big fan. That's as big as my hand. I should leave these off. In case I gotta do anything. Personal llama. What's up, personal? Is that llama? Is that the llama I know? Dang, this wood is so nice. I mean, look at that. That is just fancy wood goodness. All right. Flippity doo dah. Hey, what's up, llama? Okay. Whew. It is a lot harder on a small desk with the camera not set up where I can move it up and down. I really got to figure out a way that I can move this camera up and down, the overhead. And I really should have put my headset on with the microphone on the headset versus having this thing to walk around with. But it does sound good. What? Free Google. Whoops, somebody just messaged me. Hi, Trigger. Come here, buddy. Come on. Up, 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 up. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Huh? Huh? Feel better now? Huh? You're taking a nap? You got grass in your beard. All right. Huzzah! 5600 can go with 4070 Super, I think, compare with... Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, you have room to grow. Oh, not free. Ad-free? Who wants ad-free? All right, we need to put a power supply in, and we need to cable manage. So, ooh. GPU bracket. All right. Take care of this. And That comes up and around, so that's already in. That's the RGB. That's someone at my front door again. Okay. Ugh. Let's see. So USB 3. This audio cable needs to go on the bottom of the board. Ooh. Okay. Not a problem. So audio should be back here. So let me get the top down. So the audio is typically back here, and there's a little spot for it here. And what else we got here? Front panel. That's actually gonna have to come out of here. Well, will it? Yeah. So front panel is going to be on this side. This is the board. Front side of the board here, so I can go there for now. It'll probably fall out, but I might have to think of a different way. No, I think I'll actually take it out of there. I'll figure out a different way of pinning that in there. So that can go here. And then we've got Thunderbolt, well, USB 3.2 Gen 2, and our USB, actually, no, that is USB-C. This is USB-C, and this is not Gen 2. Usually it's blue when it's Gen 2. And that should be up here. So that'll go here, and that'll go here. Let's see if that'll fit with this still in place. We'll find out. Come on, unravel yourself there. Okay. Those should go there. All right, let's get a power supply in there. Raga, 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 raga. Turning and dropping screws. All right, so I think there's two ways of doing a PSU on here. Yep. So it actually has a cover. I can't show it to you guys, but there's a cover back here for the PSU. All right. Let's take this cover off. Oh, hey, what's up, Rye Bread? Your favorite part's the power supply? Okay. So take the cover off, because this has a couple different ways of mounting the power supply. You actually mount it sideways out of the case. $50.70 equals. But you said, you're the one who said that. That was you saying 57 equals 40.90. Yeah, everybody deserves ad-free. All right, so cover taken off. I think. Yeah, so you can see you can actually mount. Let me get my light. Boom, boom. So you can actually mount the power supply facing out the side of the case there. But here's a normal mounting position. Magnetic. Magnetic light. So we're not going to need this fancy cable. Oh, wow. Really can't remove that cable, unfortunately. That is fine. Oh, wow, it's even got a top-down. That's crazy. There's so many different mounting options for a power supply. And we're putting in an Asus 850 watt tough. It's an 80 plus gold. Not my favorite power supply, but it works. We're going to mount this thing with the fan down, because it does have a fan port here, and it's filtered. So you can get fresh air to your power supply. But let's plug in all the nonsense we're going to need. So we're going to need 2 8-pins for the... Do we need 2 8-pins up here? We do. Or are those 6 pins? Yeah, okay. So we're going to need 2 8-pins for the motherboard, 1 8-pin for the 4070, one of these for the SATA, for the power, for the fans and everything, and the RGB. We're going to need this for the motherboard. That's the motherboard 24-pin. Jensen Huang smokes more crack than anyone I know. He just says things. So, here's a 24-pin. So it's a... What is that thing? Something plus 12. So it's a... Yeah, so this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So it's 10 plus 14. 14 plus 10 makes your 24-pin. So let me undo that bad boy right now. And... Okay. Actually, this would be way easier to do on my table than on the case itself. All right. 24-pin. Oh, yeah. Really make sure they're locked in. Yeah, he says things if you use all the nonsense. All right, so there's our 24-pin. We're going to need 3 8-pins. We don't need the 12-volt high power. Here we go. Here's a SATA. So 6-pin to SATA. We'll use the far one. And I'm using the far one because who knows if I'll add anything else later on. Or whoever owns this thing later on. Oh, here's a shorter SATA one. This one has 2. We'll think about it. All right. So this one specifically says PCIe. So that one goes to a graphics card. What's on the other end? So this is 12-volt high power to dual 6 or 8-pin. We do not need this cable. Don't need that cable. Aha. So this one specifically says CPU. CPU. Be very careful. What's up, JP? So yeah, CPU. And dual 8-pin. So 8-pin. Actually, we'll use the inside ones. Come here. Get out of there. All right, 8-pin. Of course, this is impossible to see. There's so much of a rat's nest. 8-pin. What's up, John Mack? And I need one more 8-pin to power the graphics card. So PCIe to 8-pin. This is what we need. So here's our squid. Here is the squid that we need. We have 8-pin for power for graphics card, 2 8-pins to the motherboard, 24-pin to the motherboard, and well, this is for the CPU. This is for the motherboard to power everything else. And then this little dinkery-doo is for any accessory that we add. So I just have to remove these mounting screws, because this power supply. The reason I don't like it is it comes with custom mounting screws. It doesn't use the standard coarse thread hex head screws. It uses its own custom ones, and that makes me sad. And remember, we're going to mount it so it goes this way, because we want the fan to pull in fresh air from underneath the case. And this thing's going to be in my way. Come on. Come on. Give me the power of John Mack. I know he can fit in tight places. All right, that's out of the way. All right. Dropping her in. Okay. Ugh. Ugh. All right, mounting. I figured you like that, John Mack. All right, we're getting much closer. And this one we will do a star pattern. Whoop. All right, we've installed the power supply, and we have way too many cables. PSU to, we don't need that. And I don't need that. And I don't need that. Ugh. All right, let's do some cable managing. Ugh. All right. I guess I can unlock this thing and just do this. Boom. All right, so we have this umbilical of nonsense here. So I like to make sure everything is in some sort of way. All right, this is just nonsense. This is just. Okay. .24 pin. Okay. 24 pin is going to go up this channel and through this. I know that. Okay. So we'll open up those in a second and cable manage that. This is part of this. Come on. Come on. All right, so this is our GPU. That will go somewhere up in this area. Let's get over there. What's my favorite place to go here? Let's actually add some cable ties to manage this a little bit. So we're going to add some cable ties to this so it's not all squibbly bibbly. Yep, I already messed that up a little bit. I wish this cable came with cable combs to keep this thing more organized, but she was an inexpensive what? I like to fix you in... Whoa! Jonathan Mack. How dare you, sir? Think of all the women and children. Of course I'm all tangled up in here now. There we go. Alright, let's get some cable ties and keep this thing slightly organized. Cable ties. Sharp knife. Watch the fingies. Alright. Okay, that cable bundle is this. Okay. I'll add one more over here. There we go. Okay, now run this through. And again, this is for our GPU. And what you do here is you'll see that this is a 6-pin. And it comes with a little baby piece that you can fit on. And you make sure they're keyed correctly. So if you look really closely, there's a little key tab right here. And you want to make sure when you insert it, it's like this. That little key tab will keep it pressed in when you push it all the way in. You want to make sure all of them go in, because if there's too much gap, you could build some resistance up, because air has resistance, and you could overheat the connector, and she can melt, which is why those 12-volt power supply cables, the 12-volt high powers, keep melting all the time, because guess what? They don't do any of that. Alright. So I'm going to also zip tie my CPU nonsense. Alright, so that stays together. And that's going to go... Nope, I didn't want to do that one. That's not a CPU. I mean, it's not bad. So we'll do... Let's see, if I unlock here, I can move this here. Boom. Come on. Boom. It's got these cool tabs. You just pull up and slide your cables under. Boom. Okay. And all right, so that's a run through there. This needs to go to a fan header. This needs to go to an RGB header, and this needs to go to power. And we'll cable tie this. So I'll use a skinny one. Is it? It's in. It's so in. John Mack, it can't be any more in. Oh, man. All right. I think the only thing I don't like about this is putting another hard drive here. I mean, that is cramped. I mean, you could do it, but holy cow. So this is the most accessible one for a secondary SSD, which I don't know why you'd buy an SSD. I mean, that's more of a thing you don't really need right now. All right, these will go to these, and I can show you there's an L. So you see that little L notch right there? It's got to match up with that L there. So it goes like this. Boom. That's connected. I'll probably run a zip tie like that and hold that cable in. I think there's room underneath for that. Let me find out. Zip tie. Yeah, M.2 is the way, man. I don't know why anyone messes with SSDs anymore. Oh, there is. There's room. Let's go. And you want to keep a nice bend in there. I was watching LGR. He was installing... He built a computer like 4 months ago, and he was taking that 12-volt cable, and he was like bending it to get it fit. I was like, don't bend that cable. Oh, that was so sketchy. So much room. You can't see it. I guess like... Room. There's just room for days. I mean, there's literally my whole hand fits in here, and all the cables are slightly managed. Let's see here. SSD still okay, fast, way cheaper. It is not way cheaper. M.2 right now is the same price as SSD gig for gig. Or terabyte for terabyte. For like $200 or for about $100, you can either do a 2 terabyte NVMe or a 2 terabyte SSD. And the SSD is going to be 500 gig per second max, and the NVMe is going to be 2 terabyte. Yeah, it's going to be 500 gigs per second on the SSD and 2 gigabits per second on that same NVMe. It is ridiculous right now. NVMe prices, unless you're doing Gen 5, if you just want like a Gen 3-ish, maybe even Gen 4, you can... They're so inexpensive now. And SSDs have not come down in price like I thought they would. I thought like I can pick up like a 2 terabyte for like $40. Nope. Still almost $80, $90. All right, we'll run this through this fancy thing. Well, what I mean, the difference is, so when I think of SSD, I think of the hard plastic SATA SSDs. When I think, when I say NVMe, I mean they are all SSDs. You're not wrong. It just the way I do it in my head. I don't consider those old-fashioned thingies SSDs, or yeah, I don't consider them the same thing in my head. So that's cable managed. Okay. Man, I am really good at cable managing stuff, but not if I mess anything up. All right, so these two need to go up and around. I just don't know where that is yet. And that's just extra nonsense that I'll find a home for. I'll find a home for you somewhere. And this. Oh, this is the front panel cable. I just pulled that out. That needs to go back in its home. Okay, it's been a year or two since I was under... Yeah. Well, everything's more expensive for Mac. I don't know why. All right, let's move the microphone and flip the case around, and let's do some wiring in the front. All right, we'll do the hardest ones first. Now let's see if I can get that camera in there for everybody. So right there is a 8 pin and a 4 pin. So I need to put an 8 pin and a 4 pin there. You would, John Mack. You would like front more than back. Alright, so this just needs to go over here. And this is the hardest one. So I need to find the cable that splits in half. All right, I need to sit down and find it. Probably something I should have done earlier is go through this and take this silly thing apart. Because they lock together. This brand actually has like a lock. I don't know how to unlock it. Oh, you just pull them apart. But now, the cable is a 4 pin and an 8 pin. Okay. You have to trust me, I know what I'm doing here. I need more light so I can see the holes. Because everything is very tight in here. All right. I know you didn't see any of that because it's really difficult to do this, but I got the 8 pin and the 4 pin in there. So now the CPU has full power. So if you want to overclock, that's what you do. And we'll just shove that cable back inside for cable management later. Here's our RGB stuff. Which we will put through the case. Okay. And then to cable manage our fans for our CPU. So to cable manage these bad boys, I'm going to zip tie these into a bundle and shove them underneath. And that's literally half of cable managing, is hiding cables. Ugh. Steam now has a beta for Mac M series, and it makes gaming on Mac. Actually, yeah, Steam's got a beta for PC as well that actually makes the software look good. Oh, so glad I took the top of the case off so I can just get in here and do whatever I need to do. All right. Hiding that bundle so no one will ever see it again. Okay. Lift the case up. Run the cables. Okay. Okay. Cables are hidden. Now we can work on this stuff. Alright, so this is our 24-pin connector. Here's our USB-C connector and our USB 3.0 Gen... Yep. So that says U32G2, which is Gen 2 3.2. And I guess I can pull this in closer. Somewhat. There we go. Oh. So there's a little key here. And that key matches the key here. Boom. Our Thunderbolt one only has one way it can go in. Okay, and then our 24 pin. And here's the key for a 24 pin right here. There's a key, and the key is right here. And make sure that locks in place. Here's our GPU pin. Here's our front I/O pin. So we just need to find our front I/O pinout, which is always in the corner over here. Geez, all this work and you can just get a pie? No, sure can't get a pie. Alright, front panel installed. Now I just need to find a home for the HD audio, which should be right there. That should be audio. And you basically look for, if you can see, there's one blank spot right there. And you just find the same matching pinout, which is right there. Audio installed. Okay, and I'm missing a cable that I ran through here. There should be a pinout for RGB, which there's an RGB header right here. See if we can find just a standard RGB header. Yep, there's an RGB header up there. 5 volt. That's a 12 volt RGB header. I should probably check. Let me look at the pins here. They should all be 5 volt. Yeah, wrap the rib with the fan wire. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a different one. So this one is going to go to, there's a breakout. I'll show you that in a second. But there should be underneath here, I thought I ran it through, it's just a standard fan header. For the control board for all the fans. All right, there it is. And I'll show you guys what I'm talking about once I get all this plugged in. All right. There we go. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Flippity doo dah. Flippity doo dah. Camera main. Okay. So right here is a fan controller with all the RGB hosts. So I ran the cable through, and I'm going to connect it to this, which will control all of it. And that one cable, the 2 cables sent across, just basically is the hub for all that. And I really don't need the RGB, but whatever. All right. So, let's do a downward shot. Whew. So this is what I mean. So right here, this is a fan breakout. So these with these keys, those are your fan ports that will do your tachometer and power. And then these other ones with the covers on them here that I uncovered and put these on, this is for RGB. So basically it's just a nice little breakout board that controls all of your fan and nonsense. Weather is so sweet here, 80 out, but with the breeze. Yeah, there's no breeze right now here. Oh, actually, there's a breeze right now. It's just muggy. We got all the mugginess right now. I will... Wow, look at that. More breakouts. You can connect, you can daisy chain. But we're just going to zip tie all that together. Well, we know why you're sweating. Because you're just a sweaty boy. Alright. And flush cuts. All right. All connected up. That's loose. Good. Ugh. There we go. Now you can see all the cable managing. Look how beautiful that is. We got all this in one channel. We got just these two cables here. Our fan breakout. I just got to tuck this little doodad. Boom. Here's our CPU and some fan stuff. And then this just needs to get cable managed. Boom. And then we got to install a graphics card. And then we can do some install a Windows and all that fun jazz. All right. Actually, you know what? We'll add one more cable tie here. And this is probably one of my best cable managed jobs. Now, normally I put a bunch of RGB nonsense and funky stuff. This is the most clean build I'm doing, where I really don't care about the RGB and nonsense. I need one tiny... It's always funny that these builds always need multiple different zip ties. Okay. All right. Cable manage. Cable manage. No one's even been looking back here until something breaks. Okay. Boom. That cable is managed. Make sure nothing can get into the fan. All right. This is gorgeous. I have outdone even myself. And look, these seasons can easily reach here to power these bad boys if I were to put two SATA drives in there. Yep, you can easily do two SATAs over here with this little SATA cable here, or SATA power. And for now, do I have a... Yes, I do. I got fabric ties, too. I like using these for anything that I might unbundle later. This we might unbundle later. So, but for now, I don't need that. That's more for expansion later. Okay. Boom. Cable managed. Alright, do I need anything else in here before I put this cover back on? I don't think so. Let's put this cover back on. And the top cover, and let's put a GPU in. She's slowly gotten heavier over time. All right. Time to put a GPU right there. Who's ready for a GPU? All right, we've got a Asus TUF 4070 that just uses a standard 8-pin. Let's go. So low power draw. Take that connector off. And we need to take off, let me actually reposition the camera real quick. We need to remove whatever this thing thinks it needs to remove. So let's take a look here. I was not guessing that. So I actually need to remove the second and third option. So removable bay door, we're going to remove number 2 and 3. Not kinky. Oh, John Mac. And we'll keep those screws. We'll need them. Boom, you come off, and you come off. How simple. All right. So as we put it in, we will push this button over here, which as you can see moves that little clip. I mean, you should just push it back anyway, but okay. It's in. And now let's install the mounting screws. And actually, I do need to open up the back of the case again. This has a little arm here for setting the anti-sag part. That was weird. The anti-sag bracket is over back here. Okay. One 8-pin, and remember, this is a 6-pin plus 2. So we need to make sure that this key matches on that little notch there. See? And then we put that in there. Okay, and then we'll cable manage. Man, actually, it'd be kind of dope coming from the top of the case. Never thought about that. You know what? Let's do that. It actually will look better. All right, changing things up. Don't mind me, just making changes. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling that 8-pin through. I'm actually going to run it through the top. And set up the anti-sag bracket. Yeah, that looks way better. I'll show you guys in a second. I'm just going to put a cable tie in place. And cutter. And cable manage. It is technically a GPU bra. All right. That is done. Now I gotta put it basically together besides the front panel and see if she boots into the BIOS, because there's nothing on the hard drive. And that should be the delete key. All right, putting the back case. Ooh, putting the back case back on. Top case. Oh, we gotta put the front to put the top on. Whew. Now she's gonna be heavy. Oh, I like this case. It is stylish. It is neat. Boot it. All right. I need to move a couple things so I can do that. So let's grab a power cable. And let's grab a HDMI cable, which is already right there. And do I set it on the ground? And then I got to plug in... I got to put in some keyboard, mouse, oh, and the Wi-Fi. Let's get the Wi-Fi thing. Ugh. Oop, quit banging up against stuff there, microphone. All right. Power cable. Wireless keyboard. The custom built keyboard we made the other day was silent keys. All right, that goes there. So much to move. I need to plug this into my capture card so everyone can see me boot it. Oh. Hey. I like the loud Model M. Ooh. And we have a mouse. There we go. Okay. Let's open up a mouse. I don't need this little tiny light. Yeah, no, I built this custom silent keyboard. Alright, and bring my regular keyboard down. Hopefully I won't have to go into the computer anymore. Hopefully that's it. Hopefully everything works like it should. I think I just cursed it, didn't I? Alright, one Razer Basilisk mouse. Oh, that's a nice soft USB-C cable. Let's go. Look at that. It's a mouse. Alright. I can plug that right over here. As I lose my voice. I can plug this in right over here. Alright. You go in there, you go in there. Basilisk. Okay. I have a mouse. It's actually kind of goofy looking. I got my setup for the new computer, and then my current setup, white Basilisk with the black wired Basilisk. So many things over here. Okay. Alright. That's what I should have called the mouse a turtle. More accurate description. Alright, how do I go into... Oh, that's right. To turn this thing on to wireless mode, I should probably do this wired. Because I need to be able to hit the delete key to get me into the nonsense. So let me grab the USB-C cable from the thing. And the capture card is installed. Well, of course it's installed. Now, where is the black USB-C cable? It's in this fancy package. There it is, braided USB-C cable for the keyboard. I don't know, it's got a tail, a long tail. It's more mouse-like. And the original mice were very shaped like mice. They still kind of are, but you know. Alright. I love that I have these little front USB ports right here. right in the front of the case. Oh, and I haven't peeled these things off yet. Oh, that's so much fun. I'm glad everyone was there to experience this removing of this plastic with me. Alright, now I'm going to have even more cables on my desk. Okay. Let's flip the main power switch. Alright. She's booting. And let's go to capture card. Don't let smoke out. There we go. New CPU installed. Press Y to reset. Yes. Okay. The fun part. Alright. Please enter to recover BIOS. New CPU, F1. Alright. I need to move me out of this shot here, so... Okay, let me just hide me. I'll just hide me for now. Oh, that's a group. There we go. Okay. We are in here. Yep, 2 terabyte. We got both 16 giggers in there. That's good. And 7700X. Correct. Alright. F7. And AI tweaker. We don't need any of this yet. I don't want to mess with any of this nonsense. Boot. Let me grab the Windows 11 thumb drive. Of course, I'm using all of the front USB panels. Alright, so now there's a Windows install on that thumb drive. So boot configuration, fast boot. Come on. Disabled. Boot logo auto, option ROM messages, force BIOS, that's fine. Tool. Let's see, where is the boot order? Yes, boot delay. No, wait for F1. No. I think it should just still load from my USB. So save changes and restart. Okay. That thing moves a ton of air. That is crazy. All right, let's see if it notices the Windows 11 USB. Nope. There we go, boot priority. Okay, why won't it load? Hey, at least it's reading both CPU fans. That's good. All right. Let's saying boot priority is that USB port, and I know I made that correctly. Yeah. F10. Yeah, I did the F8 for boot menu, and it is showing that it wants to boot from the 3.12, which, or the USB 3.2 drive, which it should. So F10. I am using the back USB right now. Interesting. Let's see here. Let's see. Force boot from USB Windows 11. F12? Oh, that's a screen capture button. To force your Windows 11 computer boot from USB drive, you need to access the BIOS. Yep. Prioritize. Yep. I mean, it literally, that's the priority. Boot from this. Yeah, I use the media creation tool on my main computer. Hmm. Yeah, yep. I use the Windows creation tool. I mean, I can do it again. It doesn't take very long. But I know I did it. Oh, here, let's main camera. Putting the drive in. Yep, there we go. I mean, there it is. So, right screen. And you can see right here. That is the boot source. Yeah, this is it. Any options in secure boot? I can check that. I mean, I can rename it to boot. See if that helps. And and capture card. All right. So F7 and boot, secure boot. Can't even do anything in there. Boot option number 1. There it is. Ooh, the CSM is disabled. CSM should be enabled on Windows 11, correct? CSM. Oh, yeah, nope, disabled. All right, let's try again. Let's save changes and reset. Wait, launch. Ah, the secure boot is enabled to prevent untrusted operating systems from loading during the system startup. To launch. Disable secure boot. Huh. Don't see that option before. Huh. This is a fresh motherboard. Does know the correct day. Oh, I should install the Wi-Fi dongle-do too. That's not going to fix this issue, but... All right. Let's see here. Factory reset, huh? Secure erase. Yeah, because right now it's telling me the secure boot is blocking me from doing anything. Security. Okay, not installed. Advanced. Monitor. Boot. Tool. Load optimized defaults. Save changes and reset. Hey, it's not red anymore. Let's see here. F7. Asus reset secure boot. Oh my gosh. I don't want to go to the Asus app. Maybe see if that USB stick boot another PC. I mean, I can, but this is the only PC I have. Oh, I'm Googling it right now. I'm an angry Googler. Secure boot. Yeah. Hmm. This sort of helped me. Set admin user password. Disable fast boot. However, I got secure boot violation, so I had to secure boot keys and update each of the 5 until the system defaults. This fixed it. Wow. Set admin and user password. Disable fast boot. This set my secure boot to enabled. However, I got secure boot violation, so I had to go to secure boot keys and update each of them. 5 in total. Let's say, oh. Dang. All right. What is key management under secure boot? I don't know. I can't do anything in there. It won't actually let me go in there. So it looks like I need to set a system main security. All right. Going dark. Boop. And I can't see anything when I do that. That's just great. All right. Okay. All right. Now I can use my other monitor. Okay. Admin password set. Okay. And then disable fast boot. Okay. And then save changes and exit. All right. Yep. My backlighting turned off. The timer went off. Okay. And F7. Nope. Still can't do that. Huh. Ugh. Why? Why? Huh. That doesn't help me. That doesn't help me. Well, that did nothing. Oh, boy. 7. Security. All right. I'm just going to do a BIOS update, maybe? Because I still can't access that. There's... set admin user... Oh, set admin and user password. I only did the admin password. Okay. 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 Boom. Those are set now. Okay. To exit, save changes, and reset. Okay. F7. Nope. Sure can't do any of that nonsense. God dang, I hate... You know... Ugh. Mm-hmm. All right, reset Asus motherboard. Making I'm making clear CMOS. Clear the CMOS. Yeah, there's load optimized settings. Okay. Advanced. I can't do anything in secure boot. I can't even access it. Key management, nothing. I can do boot. I can do boot configuration, which nothing. Yeah. Security. All right, I can do that stuff. That's literally all I can do. So my next gamble is to clear the CMOS completely and see if that does anything. Ace Site says try a different USB socket. Okay. I still can't access a secure boot, which is, yeah. All right. Yeah, that doesn't change anything. Yep, secure boot is enabled to prevent untrusted operating systems from loading during the system startup. To launch EFI shell, please disable the secure boot option to acquire digital signatures. Yeah, I can't do anything. It has nothing to do with the USB port. It has everything to do with secure boot is locked on this motherboard that I got back from Asus. Grab my light over here. All right, let's shut this down. So exit. Start changes. No, yeah, just hit the power button. Okay. Get a screwdriver and touch the pins. Also, if a legacy boot on USB, may need to turn on CSM. Ugh. All right, clear the CMOS. I'm going to get, let's see here, left screen. Oh, wrong mouse. Let's go to, wrong keyboard. Asus. B650-A. Support. And tools, BIOS and firmware. Download latest BIOS. Yep, John Mack is correct. I need to be able to access the secure boot in order to change it to Windows. Can't even get that far. Alright, downloads. Extract all. Extract. Alright, and I need a fresh, clean USB. Alright. And move the BIOS over. Boom. Pull the BIOS thing out. Boom. Put the BIOS in the BIOS thingy. Push the BIOS flashback button and let it BIOS. Let the BIOS BIOS. How's everybody doing today? Enjoying my fumbling foobies? Well, it's not really my fault. Asus sent me this motherboard. Three-hour stream. All right, let that load. Still loading newest thing. Just bear watching. Why is my... Oh, okay. My camera's like all getting slow. For a second there. Maybe we'll boot Linux. Maybe. We don't know. Yep. Yeah, put it in. Yep. Mm-hmm. This can take some time. I just gotta wait for that light to turn off. Still blinking. Oh. I do really like this keyboard, though. It's kind of nice. Why is Steam running? Current using 4% of my CPU to do all this OBS stuff. That's crazy. Oh, man. It's magnetic. I do really like this case. Worst case scenario, you have to buy a new motherboard to make this go faster, which would suck. Because swapping motherboards is not fun. Let's see, mother. Yep. Solved. There's several reasons why. Because it's poop. So many ads on every freaking website. Let's see. Alright, it's done. Pull that out, and we power up again. That's a BIOS one. We need to format that when we're done. Oh yeah, definitely cleared CMOS. It's doing all kinds of fun stuff. And capture card. Capture card with me in it. Reading about need for the USB drive to be formatted to UEFI drive for this very problem. Yes. Cool, my computer. Cool. Still on green light. Green light is boot. Wait a minute. That's actually a good thing. Hold on. Rufus can bypass UFI check, but secure boot will still need to be Windows or disabled. Yeah. John is correct. Windows is a punk. Well, all the secure boot nonsense is a punk. So I'm just getting a black screen. So it's not a corrupted BIOS. I don't know if I wait a little bit longer or I power it down. Because it's made it past post. It's stuck at boot, which means there's nothing on the hard drive. That's typically that error. So let me power it down. Let me power it back on. Should say no signal here shortly. Okay, I'm ready to press delete if that pops up. No, it's actually... Yeah, it's actually not making it to a boot screen. Oh, nope. It's there. It's just not showing up to you guys. Press enter to recover boot mode. Press enter. Please enter setup to recover BIOS settings. All right. I don't know why it's not showing up on the capture card. Oh. My capture card's not set up correctly over here. That's why. Okay, so it did boot. Alright, so we need F7. And secure boot. Ah, it worked! Ah, ha ha ha! Ha ha! Ha ha! Alright, so Windows UFI mode. That's fine. That's fine. Let's plug in the Windows 11 drive. We did it. Okay. Boot. Boot configuration. Oh. Alright, so I need to save and exit. No, I don't have this thing set up. So when I switch to that mode, it's not capturing anything. So all we did was clear CMOS and install the latest BIOS, and we're able to access everything that we need to access, which is good. I just put the USB drive in, so it's not going to find it right now. We do have secure boot set to Windows UEFI mode. Custom is fine. I'm not worried about key management yet. What we'll do is we will save changes and reset. Thumb drive is installed. And we'll go from there. And hopefully it boots from the thumb drive. It should just go right to the thumb drive. Should. What? No. No, no. Oh, boot priority. There isn't one. Notice the boot priority? There's nothing there. So we can do F7. Move over to boot. And fast boot. Disabled. And tool. Where is it? Launch. Save configuration, reset. Yes. All right. What? F7. Secure boot is enabled. What? Mm-hmm. That should work. Me confuse. Me also lost headset. Yeah, we could do that. F7. Boot, secure boot. Standard. No, USB is shown. Look at storage information right here. Hold on, wrong mouse. This right here. USB, right there. And then M.2 is nothing because there's nothing on there. Okay, F7. Enable prevent untrusted operating system from loading during the system setup. To launch if I shall please disable the secure boot option. Okay, boot, secure boot. Oh. Execute Microsoft Secure Boot check. Otherwise, select this option to get the optimized function when booting on Windows non-UEFI mode. Okay. Advanced. Enabled. Enabled. Okay. Save changes and reset. We'll keep trying. Huh. I mean, it's got storage information. I mean, I gotta try a different USB port. All right. F7. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Asus, no drives in boot priority. Solved. Boot mode. You can boot only from already bootable devices. Any device you boot, you can't boot. To boot legacy device, you have to enable legacy boot option in BIOS. I don't have legacy boot. Huh. Why do I have all these secure boot keys? Okay, user with secure boot keys, setup no secure boot keys. Hmm. 7. If I shell file stored USB flash drive. Huh. I figure out why nothing is in my boot party. Huh. Boot system launch disabled. Oh yeah, F7. There's nothing in here either. Yeah, legacy, yep. the USB drive on their computer again? What? Switch all do, select drive. See if that does anything. Oh. No signal. That's weird. Ah, there they are. Alright, so CSM Legacy Mode was the answer. This is just being stupid. Option 1. Okay. Oh, my brain hurts. Why must this be so difficult? That is just a legacy boot, not UEFI. Oh. It is Windows. It shouldn't be this hard. Like, it literally should be plug the USB drive in and it should work. But it's seeing the drives now that I put it in legacy mode. That's the weird thing. Oh. Escape. Rufus. Yep, and now everything disappears. As soon as I turn off legacy support, everything goes away. Yeah. This is not fun. Yeah, it's just boot looping now. Yep, and then boot loop. It's not going to show boot priority unless disk is bootable, has working OS on it. Install OS. Until after it shows up in the Windows installer. So it has Windows 10 on it. Nope. I like 4 forums. You all link to format the USB with Rufus through all Windows 7 through 8. Well, this is 11. It still shouldn't have to do any of this. It literally shouldn't have to be this hard. Like, there's something wrong. There's physically something amiss here. Yeah. All the free use applied secure boot keys. Doesn't matter. If it doesn't find one, it'll go to the other. That's why it's called boot option 1, boot option 2. It literally, the boot priority doesn't really matter, because if it doesn't find one, it'll just go to the other one. But I shouldn't have to go to, I shouldn't have to enable CMS to do any of this. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, none of this makes any sense. Yeah, like, there should be a boot priority here. It shows me the storage drives, but there's no boot priority. Something is amiss here. And it might have to be a different day. Let's see here. Oh yeah, the Asus board has a problem. Of some sort. Motherboard not showing boot priority.
Alright, so you just finished up this magnificent new build.
Yep.
But now that you're in BIOS, you realize that your SSD isn't popping up, even though it's showing up here. Now, obviously, mine's showing up because I've already fixed the issue. But just for the video's sake, let's just pretend this isn't here. Now, you might be panicking a little bit because you probably just spent a bunch of money on your new PC. But don't worry, nothing's broken. It's just some settings that have to be configured, and it's a super simple fix.
Oh.
I'm gonna guide you through it right now. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, once you're in your BIOS, you're gonna press F7 for advanced.
Uh-huh.
So you're gonna default into advanced mode, and then you're gonna press System Agent Configuration.
System agent configuration. In advanced. I don't have that, sir.
In here, you're gonna scroll all the way down to VMD setup menu, and then enable VMD controller. Now, this needs to be disabled. The issue is
Well, that didn't do it. The link you posted, what link? The links get deleted. Nope. Faceplant, huh? All right. Ba 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 ba. That's for installing Windows 7 and 8. Um, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's weird. It was showing it before the firmware, the BIOS update. This is what I'm confused by. Um, can't boot from USB drive Asus motherboard. Not detecting any boot devices. For no apparent reason, this fixes it. Setting SATA to 8 under advanced menu. But everyone says it fixes that motherboard issue, even later installers on forums. Man, it shouldn't need to do that. I mean, this is the problem. I understand everyone's helping, but it should not need any of this. So there's something else up. Like, you shouldn't have to take your drive and do any of this stuff. Literally, the Windows installer, when it makes the boot disk, does everything for it to make it work. It's not picking up the drive at all. It picked it up before the BIOS update, doesn't pick it up after the BIOS update. And I'm trying to figure out why. And we can do a bunch of workarounds to get it to boot, but that doesn't solve that there's something wrong with the setup process here, which makes me very worried for the future of the build. It's like, cool, we made a workaround, and then let's say something else happens, and something else, and yeah, it just... yeah. Because the media creation tool handles all that. I've used this board on the build before, and it worked just fine installing what we're doing. Restarts. Back in, put power in. Let's try Linux for fun. Okay. It's in the boot party, but however, press F8 to open boot, it shows up there every time I restart. And really, the other problem is it was a warranty replacement board. Because when I try to do the launch EFI shell from USB drives, it says the secure boot is enabled to prevent untrusted. To launch the EFI shell, please disable secure boot option or acquire digital signatures for the EFI shell and store it on the USB flash drive. It shouldn't even ask me this. It literally should just launch because I have it set to Windows and blah, blah, blah. Set the BIOS and reinstall. Pen USB. Yep. Type. Yep. Can't even get that far. I think I'm going to end the stream and contact Asus again and figure out what they borked. And maybe they can walk me through. Because I don't want to get this all set up, install Windows, and there'd be a bunch of bugs moving forward when this is on them. So, yes. Asus B650A can't boot from USB. Let's see if anyone has that specific. Yeah, well, same nonsense. All right. I'm going to can't load Windows. It's all from Microsoft. Yep. Create Windows 11 installation. Yep. Try different USBs. Old. Yep. Under boot override is listed. Yep. It goes black for about 1 second. Returns to the same screen boot menu. Same issue to find a solution. No. What if these can't boot from USB? Yep. All right. Make a Windows 10 USB. See if that'll boot. No. No. Nope. Those are more workarounds. We don't want a workaround. We want it to work correctly. And for some reason, I feel that something is borked on this. So I'm not even sure, like, when you go to the secure boot and the key management, I mean, these secure boot keys really shouldn't be here either, from what I'm understanding. I almost think that they use this board in their shop to make sure everything worked and installed a bunch of stuff, and then it's borked from them, and they send it out like, oh yeah, it works. And then, yeah. Yeah. Password protection of runtime variables. Disable. Secure device support. Disabled. Enabled. Shouldn't be. They said it was a brand new board. That's what I'm confused by. That's what I'm very confused by. Yep, still no boot priority nonsense. F7. Still can't launch from here. Yep. Showing stored on the USB drive. Yep. Please disable the secure boot option to or acquire. Yeah, I mean, secure boot. Other. Secure boot state. Set to user. Asus. Secure boot state. Grayed out. Try enable. Okay. Let's try to do that again. Maybe that person was right. Security. Admin. Oh. Oh, wrong mouse. Wrong mouse. Why is tab movie there, not here? Okay. And boom. I don't know why I'm making a difficult password. Like, it literally could be 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. F7. Advanced. Boot. Yep, sure can't do anything. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see here. ASUS support. And let's see here. Select product. Motherboard. I agree. I agree. Next. Oh. Let's see. Ugh. Passwords. Passwords. ASUS? Gmail.com. Ugh. Oh, you're finally back. We're stuck, unfortunately. All right. ASUS. Yep. Okay. Continue. for your registered product. Product serial. Let's see here. There it is. Bunch of stuff. Is that a 0 or an O? Usually it's a 0. Creating the chat. Stuck in UEFI secure boot hell. Yep. Alright, I'm going to log off and do this. I was trying to mod it. Turns out it bricked itself because it had more spaces left in the system partition. I can't wipe it because it's a super part. Yeah, unfortunately we're not even in the hard drive. We are stuck in boot, which has nothing to do with hard drives and partitions. We can't even access the boot drive. Because if we go to, where is it, F7, we go, look at that, boot priority. Nothing. There's nothing. That's one issue. They just go, just to confirm, oh my gosh, this chat doesn't fit. There we go. So, but yeah, all right. Man. I'm going to work on this and figure this out, and I'm going to have dinner, and if I find out any issues, we'll go from there. But thank you, everyone, for came by. You know, Llama and whatever. And everyone else in chat that came by, thank you for coming by. And I'm going to go problem solve with Asus chat. Pretty sure there's a boot priority hidden somewhere. No. No. We have done all of that, and it shouldn't be this hard. It literally F7. I mean, literally right there. It should be right there in boot priority. It's not, and it's not in boot either. There's no drive options unless I turn CSM on, which you shouldn't have to turn CSM on to do that. And it didn't work anyway, but yeah. It's just borked from whatever, so we'll figure it out. Yeah, we'll see if we figure it out. So appreciate everyone for coming by. Stay awesome. And I'll let you know if anything gets fixed. And I'll put some pictures up of this bad boy. Yeah, if not, I'll just order another motherboard, and it'll work 100% if I do that. So cool beans. We'll catch you later. Peace out. Stay out of trouble. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. I know I will, as I'm problem solving. Yep. It's the USB on the actual motherboard on the back plate. We're not, the front ones work because the mouse and keyboard work just fine on it. So, and it is seeing it, like it sees it in the boot thing. It just, you can't access boot. It's literally borked from the factory. There's something much more wrong. So yeah. All right. Later, y'all.